morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It's very windy today, but actually much warmer than it has been the last week, which is why I'm not wearing my big, Christmas story jacket. So, interesting stuff to talk about today. The interrogation continues, and we finally get to the confession. Stay tuned. Crafting Journey here, that Journey Chick on Instagram, and on my second YouTube channel I am known as The Leftovers. Now you can hear me. The link to the Leftover channel is down in the description. That's the channel where I do reselling, go to Goodwills, things like that. I think I'm gonna go today because I haven't done any sourcing in a few weeks since I got traumatized by that Oklahoma Goodwill bins. Oh my goodness, what a mess. The video of that is on the channel. Oh, good coffee. My sister will beg to differ with you because it's Folgers and not Dunkin' Donuts. Anyway, I digress. I am wearing my amazingly comfortable t-shirt today because it is 30. Wait a minute. Yesterday was in the 20s. Today in the 60s, that's 40 degree difference between yesterday and today. So I'm taking advantage of the weather. I'm going to open up the house, air it out a little bit, do some laundry, vacuuming, all that good stuff I'm started on the head of the dog. I got to show you. All right, let me put this stuff away so I can show you. I'm so excited to get this, to be making progress on this thing finally. It's, I'm like seeing the end of this, and I did, I vowed that I wanted to get this painting done by the end of the year. So that'll only leave one painting that I started this year unfinished. And I'm very sad about that. And that was the Waiting for the Master by Dominic Davison. But I will come back to it eventually. So, but right now I, because I have to do the Year of Fantasy in January, and I'll be doing the Dragon's Door painting. All right, here it is. Oh my goodness. Hair. All right. So there I started the head of the dog. Look at his eye. Oh, that's kind of creepy looking, isn't it? All right. So this is actually, this is the Year of the Landscape, and there is a landscape inside the body of the Labrador. It's called the Black Lab, but I just love this painting. This background has been very tedious. It's 3 different colors of white, but I just think it turned out gorgeous, and you can't hear me because I'm way far away from the microphone. Okay. We will come back to the microphone. How about that? All right. There. So you see what I have left. So I'm excited. I've been making a lot of progress. Now I got to arrange for the notes on the trial. So I'm covering right now the trial of Juan David Ortiz, and man, this thing keeps getting more and more interesting. Holy cow, shocking development happened yesterday. Yeah, in the middle of the day. So let me just give you a little background. This is the Border Patrol agent who is on trial for the murders of 4 prostitutes in Laredo, Texas. Laredo County, Texas? I don't know if that's a county. No, it's not a county. It was in Webb County, outside of Laredo. Does that make sense? I don't know Texas. I'm not a Texan. I've only been to Texas like twice in my whole life, other than many, many times when you take Southwest and you have to land in Texas to get to Oklahoma. Many times, if you count the airports. Yeah, I've been there a lot of times, but no one ever leaves the airport, right? So. And I'm way off on a tangent today. All right, let me put the light pad back on. So we have been in the process of listening to 12 different tapes of this interrogation that lasted 10 hours. We're up to, it started at 3:30ish in the morning. We're up to 11:30 in the morning. That's where it ended yesterday. And the court they actually went till about 6 o'clock last night. And that's on Mountain Time? I don't know what time zone they're in. No, it should be Central Time, right? But I don't think they are Central Time. I think it's... Is there a part of Texas that's not Central Time? I don't know. Anyway. For some reason, I thought there was an hour difference. Like they were 1 hour behind us. But I could be wrong about that. I know most of Texas is Central Time. So let's just say they went late last night. So we start the day by listening to him continue to deny, Juan David Ortiz. He's continuing to deny that he has any knowledge of why he's there. I don't know why am I here? I don't know. You know, I don't know. You know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. So what we discover is that during the period of time where they are looking for him in the parking garage. So here's what happens. I can catch you up really quick. He picks up, by this time, there are 2 prostitutes dead. Melissa Ramirez and, let me get the other name. Claudine Nuela. They're dead. And the police know about this. This is the other thing we learned yesterday. The police know about Melissa and Claudine. They don't know about the other 2, which is Lucinda Hernandez and Janelle Ortiz. So they know about the 2 murders. And he goes to pick up Erica. Juan does. So he's picking up Erica. Allegedly, he's already committed these other 2 murders, and they're investigating. So he picks up Erica, and Erica was friends with all these people. She's another prostitute. And he takes her to get a fix, and then he takes her to his house. And she starts to get a clue that, he may have been involved with Melissa. But here's what we learned yesterday from Juan. Later, like the last 30 minutes of the day, we learned, when he finally starts to confess, we learned that, she says he brought up Melissa Ramirez. He says she brought up Melissa Ramirez. Who knows? But what we learned is that Erica was the last person to see him with Melissa. Now, I don't know if Erica knew that she was the last person to see him, but she certainly knew that she had seen Melissa with David Ortiz. So they're discussing this at his house, and she gets very nervous. She goes out to have a cigarette. She starts vomiting, and she's like, he's like, I think maybe you need to go get something to eat. And he makes this weird comment during the interview. He's like, they always want to be fed. You gotta feed them. Well, they're hungry. So I don't know. Does crack make you hungry, or heroin make you hungry? I have no idea. But he had already taken her to get her heroin fix, and she had done her fix inside the house while he was outside smoking his cigarette, and then she comes outside smoking his cigarette. I don't know. It's all one story versus the other story. But in any case, he drives her to get this hamburger, and when he goes to get the hamburger, he says she started freaking out because he pulled his gun out of the side. He had it in the side pocket of his vehicle, and he pulls it out, and he says it was still in his holster, and he was just looking at it. He wasn't threatening her with it. This is what he says. She says he put the gun to her head. He says, oh no, I never took it out of the holster, but she just freaked out, and she's trying to get out of the vehicle, and I grab her by the shirt, and she just runs off. And he goes, now, I don't know why you found her in just a bra. I have no idea. Well, maybe because you grabbed her shirt. So she goes to the police. An officer, a trooper that was at this particular gas station where she runs to, he's gassing up his vehicle. She tells him, he calls the people that are investigating, the investigating officers, because they've been up for hours investigating these first two murders, and they talk to her. They interview her. She takes them to his house. They figure out, okay, this is Juan David Ortiz's house by looking at the property records. They figure out what kind of vehicle he's driving, and they figure out, they get a copy of his driver's license. They put that out to all the other troopers and police officers. They put a bolo out, be on the lookout for this vehicle. And they finally, one of the troopers sees him later on that night at a gas station. He's gone in to use the restroom. He comes out. He sees an officer who's got his AR-15, honed in on him. And he freaks out and runs away. And they chase him into a parking garage where 2.5 hours later, after they call the SWAT team in, and they all get their stuff on, and they all get their assault rifles out, and they go look for him. I'm sorry, I hate assault rifles. I just think it's so ridiculous. So anyway, they go look for him, and so what we find out yesterday is that during this time that he is hiding on the 4th floor of this parking garage in the back of a pickup truck, he's calling his wife on the cell phone. Or messaging her. I don't know if it was a call or a message, but and he's telling her, don't come to. She was in San Antonio, and he's like, don't come home. This is the end for me, and and then he's posting on Facebook that this is the end. Like a suicide thing, I guess. I don't like he didn't say he was going to kill himself. He said, I'm at the end. And he actually told the officers, if I had my gun with me, I would have killed myself. I would have. And they're like, why? And he's like, because you guys were chasing me. At this point, he still has not confessed. He's still denying the murders. He's denying the whole thing. At this point, he's still maintaining that he ran because an officer had his AR-15 pointed at him, and he got really scared, and he freaked out, and he doesn't know why he's being chased, but he wants to kill himself. That makes no sense. Okay. Anyway, so this is the point where. So then I get involved in all this other stuff yesterday. This is where I jumped off because, life happens. You got to do other things. I had I do a gaming stream at night, and I started last night on World of Warcraft. There was a new expansion, and I started fresh with this new expansion. I need some more coffee. Then I did a bunch of stuff, made this amazing turkey pot pie, homemade turkey pot pie for dinner. And I've got the interrogation playing on the kitchen counter while I'm cooking. And he's still not, he's talking about everything but the murders. Doesn't know why he's there. They're showing him pictures, and I don't know who those people are. He doesn't know why their purses are in his car. He just keeps denying the whole thing. So I'm cooking anyway. So I fall asleep like 10 o'clock last night. I was starting to watch this really boring movie, and I fall asleep. So at 2:30 in the morning, I am wide awake. So I'm like, okay, let me listen to the rest of this interrogation. So that's what I did all morning. I listened to this interrogation, and half of it put me to sleep. Literally, they would leave him for these long periods of time and the prosecution was showing all of this. Like, they are showing all 12 of tapes in their entirety. Usually what you see in an interrogation video during a trial is it pared down just to the meat of the, they don't show all these long periods of time where you leave the guy alone for 30 minutes at a time and let him contemplate his fate. They're leaving him alone. And we've got to sit there and watch him fidget in his chair and yawn and, try to fall asleep. And it's funny because every time he tries to fall asleep, that's when they come back in the room. Very clever. And then they'll say to him, "Oh, I'm sorry, were you sleeping?" They're all watching him on a closed circuit TV from another room, so they know darn well. Yeah, he'd just fallen asleep. So while I'm watching that this morning, they finally get to the heart of the matter. They finally come in and they bring in the crime scene people, and they say, "Okay, we're going to take off your clothes, and because we need to swab you for DNA, we need to collect your clothes as evidence." And so they do all that. He's literally, and they show the whole thing. He has to strip. We get to see him take off his shirt, we get to see him take off his pants, we get to see him in his underwear, and then they give him the orange jumpsuit, or not the jumpsuit, but just the orange scrubs. How did scrubs get into prisons? Like, aren't scrubs for surgeons and nurses and doctors? And anyway, and prison inmates, apparently. So probably because they're easily laundered, I would think. And I'm all over the place today because I was up all night. So after he gets into the jumpsuit, he's shackled. His feet are shackled. His hands are handcuffed. So the guy, the interrogator, he sits down, and this is the lead investigator who's also on the stand, and he says to him, "Listen, we have done everything you asked us to do. Now we're getting into like the 5 p.m. hour of this of court yesterday, I should say, and I'm sure the jury's tired. I know I'm tired of listening to it, but then." So he says, "Listen, we've done everything you've asked us to. Because he kept asking when I was cooking. He kept saying this was a real bone of contention with him. I need to be isolated. Please don't put me with the other prisoners." And they kept saying, "Well, why would we put you in jail? What are we going to put you in jail for?" And he's like, "Well, And they're like, "No, what do we know? Tell us what we know. What is it you think we know?" So it was just this circular argument all day. So they say, "Listen, we stopped your wife when she was on her way back from San Antonio because she was worried about you and she thought you were going to kill yourself. We've turned her around. She's gone back to San Antonio to be with her family. Your kids aren't going to be here. They're back with your mom. We didn't break down the door to your house. We used your key. He says, "I don't have any control over the jail, but I'll do whatever I can to get you isolated." And he, in fact, has been isolated since his arrest. He's not with the regular prison population. Well, he's not in prison. The rest of the jail population. And he had requested some kind of a picture. I don't know if it was a picture of his family. He's like, "We're trying to get you the picture." So then he kind of finally starts opening up. He starts with the story of Erica. How he picked up Erica and how, he takes her to get a fix and takes, everything I've already told you today. She brought it up. He didn't bring it up. And she freaked out and whatever. So we're still not to the murders yet. And the judge, at this point, is saying, "Let's find a good stopping point here. It's getting to be 6 o'clock. So he finally starts talking about Melissa. He picked up Melissa at a gas station. He had been with her before. He's been with all these women. He picked her up at a gas station. Oh, here's why he finally started opening up. Because he asked the interrogator, "Can you please take off the handcuffs? And then we can talk." So they took the handcuffs off. He starts talking. So he said he picked up my Lisa, and he took her to get a fix. When he took her to get the fix, they saw Erica. And Melissa's like, "Hey, Erica!" Advertising the fact she's with Juan. So Erica sees her with Juan. And then he says they drove away from where she got her fix. And she passes out. He says she started acting like this, and then all of a sudden she's like passed out. So now, and he's like, she is dead asleep. I cannot rouse her. And so he says, I drove by the medical center. I was going to just dump her body. I was just going to just throw her out of the vehicle and leave her there. Now, she's still alive. She's alive. She's just passed out. He says, I was just going to leave her there but he says, I know there's cameras everywhere and I didn't want them to recognize me in the vehicle. So he says, I just start driving. So he's driving, and he goes out of town. He's on these highway, and he pulls off on this. She starts to wake up. And she's like, where are we? And she says she has to go to the bathroom. So he pulls off on this dirt road. She gets out, she's squatting down to go to the bathroom, and he comes behind her and shoots her in the head 3 times. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where this ends for the day. I'm like, oh, what? At some point he says, while he was driving, the monster in me came out. And he didn't say it in Spanish. He said it in English. But that was not the most shocking part of the whole day. No. They go to lunch, at the usual time. And at 1 o'clock, we're waiting for them to come back from lunch. And we're waiting. It's 1:30. And the moderator of the live chat for Law and Crime comes across and she says, oh my God, the prosecutor just quit. I'm like, what? Yeah, the prosecutor just quit his job. I'm like, no way. It can't be. So it turned out to be the assistant prosecutor. So the Weeks County prosecutor is prosecuting this case, but he has several assistants. Usually it's the assistant prosecutors that are trying the case. And the prosecutor is, sitting in his office, his grandiose office, and, running the whole show. But in this case, the prosecutor is actually prosecuting the case with the assistance of this other guy. Well, the other guy quit. Here, let me read to you what he said. He posted this on Facebook. Oh my God. You quit your job, then you go post on Facebook. He said, I have officially left the Webb County District Attorney's office. That is the most unprofessional and that is the most unprofessional and toxic workplace I've ever had to deal with. I do not recommend it. I'm sorry to anyone I let down. And he was very active during this case, questioning several of the witnesses. Even that yesterday morning, he was questioning the interrogator. No, not the interrogator. They put on a witness out of order. And it was a crime scene investigator who was only available for this period of time, and he had a medical issue, and he was on crutches and from a surgery that he'd had, and he apparently had traveled to get there, and so they put him on out of order, and it was just to get a bunch of exhibits into evidence, things that had been collected at the crime scenes into evidence. So he quit. And that's all we know. When they finally come back at 1:30 from lunch, there's a different assistant prosecutor there, a different guy. And I'm like, oh, that's not the, because everybody was thinking at this time, oh, it's the main guy that quit. No, it wasn't. It was the other guy. But very interesting. The other thing I forgot to mention is the investigator pointed out, at the time they were searching for Juan David Ortiz in this parking garage is when they learned about the third murder. The lead investigator said, while they're searching for this guy, he gets a phone call from one of the officers saying, hey, we just found another body under the overpass, and I think it might be related. And he's like, what makes you think it's related? He goes, well, it's a woman, the right age range, and there's a bunch of .40 caliber spent shells around her. And the guy's going, oh my God. And that's how they learned about the third murder. Now, apparently we're going to learn about the fourth murder today during the rest of the interrogation tape. Also, here's the really interesting part. After Erica escapes from him is when he went and got these other two women. What are their names? Lucinda and Janelle. He picks up Lucinda and Janelle. So this is implying to everyone that he committed these murders after Erica escapes from him. Oh my God. So while they're interrogating him, they know about the third body because they found out while they were searching for him in the parking garage. They get notified about this third body. And apparently during the rest of this interrogation, he's going to reveal the location of the fourth body. Wow. I know. What a tangled web we weave when we practice to deceive. This whole case is so sad, so crazy that this is, these guys are in a position of trust, these Border Patrol agents. He was a supervisor. He wasn't just an officer. He was a supervisor. But he was going to clean up the streets for everybody. Nobody was doing anything about the prostitutes, so he was going to do it and get the blowjob as a bonus. Right? I'm sorry. This is an adult show. Oh my goodness. All right, so it is time for me to start listening to the rest of the interrogation. If I find out anything more about why this prosecutor quit, I will let you know. Now, I did hear that from the lead prosecutor that it had something to do with administration, didn't have anything to do with this trial. But I'm telling you what, you quit in the middle of the trial. Good luck getting another job. You just don't do that. I mean, as an attorney, you don't quit in the middle of a trial. That's your bread and butter. I mean, he could maybe go and hang out a shingle and open his own defense firm, and good luck. But he's not going to get a job anywhere else. No. But interesting. Okay, that's the show for today, guys. Have a wonderful Thursday. I hope to see you tomorrow on Crafting and Crime Daily. Take care. Bye.